A couple days ago, I did a video on Ennis Rakestraw Jr. He's one of my favorite players and is also one of my favorite rookies. He has a pretty crazy story, and I thought the Lions got an absolute steal with him. Well, as I looked into their first round pick, Terrion Arnold, I found another guy who I can't help but root for. Whether it's giving his jersey to his former janitor in high school, whether it's hanging out with kids at the local hospital, or just doing everything the right way, Terrion Arnold was the perfect pick for the Detroit Lions. In today's video, I want to talk about who this guy is. We're going to talk about what makes him such a great role model, how he became a 5-star recruit to begin with, his time at Bama, and how he fits with the Lions moving forward. But before we get started, if you're a big fan of college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you want to support today's video, and let me know what rookie I should cover next. I want to do a ton of videos just like this, so be sure to drop a guy down below, or someone who went on draft who I could do a stock crash video on. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and talk about the insane rise of Terrion Arnold. In order to understand how Arnold got to this point, we first need to go back in time. After becoming the first player in his high school's history to be selected in the NFL draft, he had his number 11 jersey retired. Not every single player in the world can be classified as a role model, however, Terrion Arnold deserves to be in that category. Despite all of his success at Bama, the 21-year-old actively returns back home, including giving his former janitor his Alabama jersey, fulfilling a promise he made when he left for college. While in high school, Arnold promised him to give him a jersey. When the two met up, Arnold said, quote, "I've got a surprise for you." The janitor replied with, "You're a great dude, and I love it. For the first time in my life, I finally look good," as he wore the Bama jersey. 1 year later, he returned to a Tallahassee hospital, the place where he was born, and visited several families and children. He also handed out teddy bears and took photos with the kid to spread joy around the holidays. He's one of those guys who I can't help but root for, and he credits all this to his grandfather, as he was a roofer growing up in Tallahassee. He said, quote, "My granddad was a roofer, so I like to correlate roofing with football. My granddad always told me on the roof that no one is coming to save you, and when you're on that roof, it's a high pitch walking up there, and you're slipping, and you kind of get a little rocky and shaky. You know that if you lose confidence in yourself, you're going to slip and fall, and I apply that to life." As a kid, Terrion always wanted to be the best. He said, quote, "I'm trying to come out with the number 1 ranking, and that's been me since I was a little kid. If I'm not the best, I'm working to become the best." This would definitely reflect. As he got to high school in Tallahassee, he would show up at the track at 5:30 each and every morning, and he took care of business in both the classroom and on the football field. He had a 3.8 GPA and played pretty much every sport, excelling at football, basketball, and whatever sport he touched. All that extra training would pay off, but at one point, he wasn't the biggest name. His coach said, quote, "I remember standing on the field with Terrion when he had one offer, and he told me I want to be the best at my position. So I said, okay, let's get to work, and he's been focused ever since." While he eventually got to John Paul II High School in Tallahassee, Arnold was a crazy athlete who had an insane work ethic and eventually tore up the field. As a junior, Arnold accumulated 993 total yards from scrimmage and also had 8 receiving touchdowns. On defense, he shined even more, as he would rack up 103 total tackles, 1 sack, and 1 interception. Over the years, the area of Florida has seen its fair share of Division I football players, but the latest big name was Terrion Arnold. He became a huge name during his junior season, and about halfway through high school, he picked up a ton of scholarship offers, including some for both football and basketball. Notably, Georgia Tech wanted him to be a basketball player. As a junior in high school, Arnold's name quickly rose to the top of charts and was actually named the number 2 safety in the country at one point. He said, quote, "Right after I got the news, I called coach, and we were on the field working right after. I'm gunning for number 1, and at the end of the day, I want that number 1 spot." To some, he was number 1, as he held a scholarship from virtually every Power 5 school. The only safety that was ranked higher than him was James Williams, and he was headed to Miami. I actually recently did a video on him last week. Now that he had all these offers, he was asked about when he would make a decision. Arnold said, quote, "I'm relying on guidance from my family. They told me not to rush it, enjoy it, and this is only a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so to take it slow." While tons and tons of schools wanted him, Terrion was looking for one main thing in a school. His coach said every time he plays a football game or basketball game, you see his mom, grandparents, cousins, and all his family in the stands. That's a feeling he wants in college, and he's looking for that next home, so it has to feel that way to him. What would that be? Well, he was eventually listed as a 5-star recruit, and it was going to come down to Florida, Georgia, and Alabama to land him. His coach said, quote, "It's been a really exciting process to watch. I've coached Terrion for a long time, and I've gotten to watch him grow and mature and go through this recruiting process. I told him to enjoy the ride while you can, because this part's fun, and it'll be about business soon." Apparently 47 total schools offered Arnold, but he would decide to choose Bama. This was a huge get for the Crimson Tide, and one of the top prospects in the country had now found his home. Why the Tide? Well, he said, quote, "The track record under Coach Saban really stands out. The way Alabama has been recruiting me from the jump does too. The competition at Bama is different, and I would go against the best every day. Alabama always loads up on players, but they were super pumped to get Terrion. One scout said, quote, "Arnold's a violent striker and is always decleating offensive ball carriers regularly. He wraps up his tackles and is fundamentally sound. His athleticism pops from both sides of the ball as he's the threat to take it to the house anytime he touches it." According to 24/7 Sports, Arnold was a 5-star recruit, the number 2 safety, and the number 26 player in the class of 2021. So, how would Terrion Arnold do at Bama? Well, let's take a look. So when Arnold arrived at Alabama, he was just stuck behind a ton of other 4-star and 5-star players. No one was really too hyped up for him, and as a freshman in 2021, he really didn't get a chance to do much, as literally, he did nothing at all. He decided to redshirt his first year on campus, and eventually he would make a switch that would change his life. He decided to make a leap of faith and switch from safety to corner. While this could be considered risky, it would pay off for Terrion in the perfect way. He eventually got an opportunity to play a ton of games in 2022, making a couple of starts. His first big moment would come against Texas A&M, as he had his first career interception and also had 8 tackles in a close 24-20 win over the Texas A&M Aggies. He had 6 tackles in their win over number 20 Arkansas, 5 tackles in a win over Texas, and then had a monster performance against number 11 Ole Miss. In that game, he finished with a fumble recovery and 10 total tackles. In total in 2022, Arnold finished with 45 tackles and 1 interception. While he didn't get a chance to start that many games, Arnold would absolutely blow up in 2023. He became the full-fledged starter and took over the defense. He had 4 big tackles in a close loss to number 11 Texas, had 8 in a road victory over USF, and then another interception in a victory over number 15 Ole Miss. Flash forward a couple of weeks, and he helped them beat number 17 Tennessee, had an interception against number 14 LSU, and had another one against Kentucky. He would end up finishing the year strong, having 2 big interceptions and a win on the road against Auburn, and then 6 tackles in the SEC Championship and a victory over Georgia. Despite that early season loss to Texas, Arnold and the Tide regrouped and ended up getting to the college football playoff. He get a chance to play against number 1 Michigan and finish with 2 total tackles and a 7-point overtime loss to the Wolverines. While this was absolutely heartbreaking, Terrion was going to achieve his dream of making it to the NFL. This would come after 63 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 5 interceptions in 2023, and Arnold proved that he was a great player. Not only did he put up big-time stats, but he was a tremendous leader, and really measured and graded well in terms of his athleticism and his efficiency on the field. Many believed he was a top 15 pick, and potentially the number 1 corner prospect in the entirety of the draft class. He would end up falling a little bit, as he was eventually drafted in the first round by the Detroit Lions with the 24th overall selection. If it feels like deja vu for Lions fans, it kinda is, as last year they drafted Alabama secondary player Brian Branch with a top 50 pick. Arnold was super pumped to be getting to work in Detroit, but did not forget what life was like back home in Tallahassee. He said, quote, "I continue to shout my city out because it's a really hard place to make it out of. For me, doing what I'm doing, I thank God I'm in this position, honestly." So yeah, he was the first pick for the Lions, and they are not only getting a solid football player, but a really solid human being. He's already become a fan favorite for Lions fans, and they're going to even like his football skill set more. According to NFL scouting reports, one said, quote, "He's a twitchy man cover corner with outstanding athletic ability and the skill set to bring in ball production at the professional level. He possesses average size, but plays with a desired level of aggression and competitiveness in both phases of his job. He's fast and agile, and matches up against a variety of receiver flavors on the outside, inside, or even in the slot." So yeah, it seems like Terrion is the kind of player that you can build a defense around, and while he may not ever be a superstar, I think he's going to play a long time in the league, have multiple Pro Bowls, and will be the anchor of this team. He'll use his NFL image to his advantage, help out the community, and hopefully have a long career. He's one of my favorite rookies now after hearing his story, and I hope Lions fans get a good one in him. But what do you guys think? If you're a Bama or a Lions fan, what do you think of Terrion Arnold? And who's another rookie or prospect I should take a look at next? Be sure to let me know down below. Leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen, including my video about Ennis Rakestraw. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.